Should you buy the Under Armour Spawn 5 at only $100? That's not a bad price. Let's see how they stack up. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be breaking down all of the performance aspects for the Under Armour Spawn 5 by testing out the cushion, traction, support, and more. But first, I'm going to go ahead and hit on just some of the basic info really quick. So like I just pointed out in the intro, today we're going to be dealing with more of a budget-friendly model. The Spawn 5 retails for the semi-low price of $100. That definitely puts them on the cheaper side of the scale, just whenever it comes to basketball shoes. But that being said, Under Armour doesn't put out a ton of high-priced models. You do have Curry's line up here, which is like retailing for $160, but that is about as expensive as it gets whenever it comes to Under Armour right now. That's enough about the price. So now we'll go ahead and take a quick look at the design though before we move on. So the last shoe that I played in from Under Armour was, I want to say, the Lockdown 6, and I was actually impressed with how those felt, especially for the price. And those were a good amount cheaper at like $70 for retail, making them like $30 less, but it really wasn't much of a looker, at least in my opinion. And I kind of felt the same way about this shoe whenever I was looking, at the Spawn 5 online. But the more I got them in hand, I kind of do like them. And this brilliant blue colorway, it has a really nice design to it. You're gonna have that blue upper. The metallic gray looks clean too, and you have that Under Armour patch from the side. I think the side profile for these is pretty nice, even with the bubbles kind of built into the midsole there too. But whenever you're looking at these from the front, you're going to get that Under Armour logo on the tongue with some text that's there that I can't even read. I don't know what that's trying to say on the tongue. So if anyone knows, feel free to let me know. But from the back side, it's pretty simple. You're just going to get a blue pull tab back there with some micro G text built into the midsole, and we're about to get into that right now. So I still think the overall look to these is solid. Some people might think they're a little bit too busy, but none of that, really matters too much. It is more so how they play. So now let's get into that. So now getting into more of the tech specs and the performance side of things, and starting off with the cushioning, Under Armour actually does a favor, like I said, and they just marked out on the midsole what's being used. So the Spawn 5 does have a UA Micro G midsole that is meant to provide a responsive feel underfoot and just give you complete control on the court. And then along with that is going to be a cushioned Achilles pillow meant to provide heel comfort and containment. And if you thought I was done there, I'm not. So in the back of the shoe is going to be a die-cut open cell foam sock liner, and that's just meant to be for enhanced step-in comfort. And that is just basically the way that Under Armour lays it out for you on their site. So anything at or around that $100 or lower retail price, you've probably heard me use the term before, budget friendly. That's just kind of the basket that I throw these shoes into, just so I can look at them through a slightly different lens. And sometimes you will have those models, those cheaper models, they're going to play on par or better than some expensive shoes. But I will say the Spawn 5 leans a little bit more towards just the overall average feel. The cushion isn't bad for the price, and they did pad the heel pretty well, which some models tend to forget about, but the padding just isn't very deep underneath your foot. And since I brought them up, I do feel like comparatively the Lockdown 6 does give you a little bit of a softer feel and just requires a little less break-in time. But using our durometer to check out the midsole, these were reading at a 32, which is actually pretty soft. That's definitely softer than average, but this is a model where I would say that that doesn't directly relate to how they feel. They're going to be good, but not that close to great. So now getting into more of the materials and the support, the Spawn 5 is made out of a lightweight and breathable mesh upper with some TPU overlays for added durability. And it's easy to see kind of where that mesh is represented on the tongue. It's just, you're going to see those holes ranging down the shoe. And that does contribute to helping these shoes stay on the lighter side, with the Spawn 5 only weighing 408 grams for a size 10.5. And that's pretty light, and I'm always a fan of that just because I don't like heavy models. It just makes it easier to move around on the court when you have a lighter shoe. But whenever it comes to lighter shoes, that is when you want to see some support features to kind of check out. And these have what Under Armour calls a half booty design, which has a traditional lacing for better lockdown. But whenever it comes to support features, you just don't really have any midfoot straps. It looks like there's no outrigger or anything like that to help with balance. But looking at these from the side, the Spawn 5 does have a rise to the midsole, and that extends up the shoe a little bit to help keep your foot, from shifting outside of the footbed. And that's going to help cover your lateral support. But this is yet another model that does have some minor heel slipping going on. And it's not happening all the time, but I will say it does slip from time to time. And of course, that's one of those things that you only notice whenever you're taking those quick bursts and those fast steps to propel yourself forward. So like I said, the side to side is good, but whenever you take off, that's where you might experience just a little bit more of that issue. So finishing off with the traction, I'll go ahead and give you a shot at the pattern first. And this just looks like some organized chaos going on down there. You have some straight lines turning into curvy lines, surrounding other straight lines, and all the colors down there might kind of make it look trippy. But as far as the materials go, Under Armour Spawn 5 is using a rubber outsole with what they call an organic traction pattern, whatever that means. But I guess all the rounded shape is meant to allow for freedom of motion for making quick cuts. That being said, if they wanted us doing that, I feel like they should have made a little bit more of a secure heel counter, but that could just be me. But as far as like the traction goes, that's probably going to be the highlight of this model. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell from our squeak test. These things like make virtually no noise on the court, but they do have some bite. And I wouldn't say it's, like going to be the stickiest model. I wasn't really expecting it to be, especially for the price, but I did slide a little bit on my first traction attempt, just whenever I was recording in these. And then even doing it again, there was still some minor sliding on that second attempt, but it's almost been like a year since they waxed the gym floor that I play in. So I want to say that it is overdue, because altogether, I really didn't have like a bad experience whenever I was playing in these, especially whenever it comes to like just the traction alone. And the grooves do feel durable, and it is Under Armour's like rubber material, not like that UA foam that they're using in Curry's line. So that would make this an outdoor option for sure. But finishing off with the sizing, I did go true to size, and that's what I would probably recommend, because you only get like a half thumb's width left over for the length, but it is like more of like a sculpted shoe. It almost fits more like Curry's line. So as far as like wide footers go, you don't have a ton of space there. But overall, wrapping it up, this is my first time playing in the Under Armour Spawn 5, and I didn't play in the 1 through 4, so I can't do much comparing there. But factoring in the price, I mean, the cushion is still going to be well above average, especially whenever you're looking at through that way, through like a budget-friendly shoe. And I like that it's going to be a lighter model too. Support's going to be a minor setback, but the heel slip isn't terrible, so I hope I didn't like kind of paint that picture for you. And the shoe does have traction, and that's something that I always need whenever it comes to a shoe line. So for $100, should you buy the Under Armour Spawn 5? I will say there are some better models out there for the same price, but if Under Armour is your brand, then I would. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. If you're interested in buying these shoes and you want to support our channel, just click the link here on screen, or we have links down below or in our bios. Feel free to check that out. But until next review, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.